I switched my entire business setup from ChatGPT over to Claude, and I'm pretty sure I'll never go back. You've probably heard of how everyone's switching to Claude, and there are a ton of demos of all the cool stuff it can build. Claude has even passed ChatGPT in revenue, and at one point even passed them in the App Store. So it's definitely tempting to try it out. But if you don't switch the right way, you risk losing all of your built-up ChatGPT history, your projects, your custom instructions, all the context and memory that it's built up on your work. So the tricky part is moving all the important stuff over while also filtering out all the outdated and contradictory information that would give Claude a rotten foundation. In this video, I'll explain why I made the switch and how to do it the right way without losing any of your ChatGPT history, files, or projects. I'm Thaddeus, a former senior data scientist and the founder of Elevate. We set up cutting-edge AI systems for businesses every day. Now let's start with why I made the switch. Not everyone should switch from ChatGPT to Claude, and honestly, it depends on what you value most. So let me break it down across the dimensions that actually matter and give you my take on each so you can make the best decision for yourself. First, we have performance, how good the models actually are. In my own testing, and a lot of people have noticed the same thing too, Claude just feels better to work with. Out of the box, the way it talks to you is more natural and more enjoyable, and when I want it to write in my voice, I feel like I can get it there faster, which matters to me because I do a lot of writing. The other big one for me is its coding abilities. I've personally tested creating things like websites and dashboards and apps in both Claude and ChatGPT, and I found that I just liked Claude's first version much better than what I got out of ChatGPT. In all the websites and landing pages for my business, I've created in Claude myself, and here's just an example of one for my agency, and then here's one for an app. As you can see, these are really professional looking, and I've personally been quoted thousands of dollars to create websites that look just like this. But to be honest, all of the actual benchmarks for these models are converging. You can see it on this chart here. There used to be much more of a divide between each of the company's models, and now they're all getting really good. And the other thing to keep in mind is that they're trained on different data, so the best tool genuinely depends on your work, which is why my real advice for this is really, you don't have to completely abandon ChatGPT to try out Claude. The only way to truly know if it's going to be better for you is to replicate your setup in Claude, which is exactly what you'll learn in this video, and then A/B test a task that you normally do in both ChatGPT and Claude. All right, next we have the best use case. Zooming out just from my experience, and I think it's getting pretty clear about what each of the best three main AI assistants are the best at. So let's talk about Claude, ChatGPT, and Google's Gemini. Claude is the pick for deep reasoning and coding tasks. Think of things like analyzing really long documents and then doing really nuanced and professional writing. ChatGPT is the best all-arounder for everyday work. So it's really fast. It's great at writing, coding. It has a new image generation model, which is impressive, and it can create documents in almost any format. And Gemini, of course, is great if you really like the Google Workspace. It has great integrations with Google Docs, Gmail, and Sheets, and also it has access to YouTube data, which is a big advantage because Google owns YouTube. Also, Gemini leads in images and video right now. You may have seen it, but they're really partnering up with different film directors and studios and really building out their suite of creative tools for people to create videos and eventually full-on TV shows just from Google products. And it's important to note that Claude has openly avoided doing any sort of AI video generation, and they've kind of stated that they're not going to be going into it for the near future. And if you're mostly just asking fun questions like shopping or doing travel research, honestly, any of them is fine, but Claude might even be overkill because of the price. All right, let's talk about innovation. Anthropic keeps shipping the ideas that the rest of the industry is copying. MCP, which stands for Model Context Protocol, is how all these AI assistants are able to plug into any of the apps that you use. Anthropic, the makers of Claude, are the ones who built that standard and then open sourced it, and now everyone has adopted it. They also had Skills First. These are basically a standardized way to teach your AI how to do a task in your work. You can think of them like SOPs for your AI agents. And Cowork, which really brought the powerful AI coding models and then made it usable for anyone, not just engineers. But in fairness, OpenAI's Codex has caught up fast on the interface and the coding. So I hope you get the idea. It feels like Claude is constantly innovating and just a few months ahead of the other AI companies. So if you want the most cutting edge features a few months before everyone else, which maybe in today's fast-paced environment could be really valuable for you, Claude would be my top recommendation. Now let's just talk practical stuff, reliability and cost. And honestly, ChatGPT wins here. Just OpenAI has been around for over a decade, and Anthropic is a younger startup. They've only been here for a few years. So Claude does go down more often, and the app can be a little more finicky than ChatGPT. For example, every now and then I'll go into voice mode and then I'll give a long detailed prompt and then it'll just bug out and not capture anything I've said. I honestly don't have that same problem when I'm using ChatGPT's app. So Claude does have its quirks and it can be a little annoying. ChatGPT also tends to be a little cheaper to run. So if what matters most to you is reliability and lowering your AI bill a little bit, ChatGPT definitely has the edge here. And 5, this one's a little bit bigger than just the feature. It's ads and privacy. ChatGPT has chosen to roll out ads as part of their business model. Anthropic has openly taken the opposite stance, and they're actually criticizing it. They even ran a Super Bowl ad around the same time that OpenAI started talking about bringing ads onto their platform and openly criticized the idea and actually had a pretty funny commercial about how horrible it might be to start having advertisements come up in your ChatGPT answers. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, even directly commented back, and it was pretty clear in his tweet that he didn't appreciate the criticism. But part of why ChatGPT might be able to stay cheaper in the long term is that ads might help pay for the expensive AI bills. And of course, the concern with this is a lot of people are putting sensitive and really personal information into their AI tools. So things like their finances, their personal life, all the work they do. The worry that people have, once ads are included in the platform, all the sensitive and personal things that they've been giving ChatGPT might be given to advertisers, so then they can have hyper-personalized advertisements directed at you. So I think it comes down to a personal preference. There's a famous saying in the tech community, and Facebook is a great example of this. If the software is free, you are the product. Meaning if you don't have to pay to use their product, the company is only subsidizing what it costs to run their platform because they're going to be selling your information to advertisers to cover their costs and then make their profit. So honestly, that part's a personal call. I'm personally more comfortable paying a premium for the bit of performance edge and knowing that Anthropic doesn't have any plans to sell user data to advertisers. And for now, I'm okay with the occasional outages and the app glitches, and I assume they'll just get better over time. So here's my bottom line. If you mostly use AI for casual stuff, ChatGPT is great, it's cheaper, and it's super reliable. And you probably don't need a switch. But if you're doing everyday work or running a business, I think the trade is worth it. Yes, there's the outages and the cost, but I think it's worth it for the tool that it has a little bit of that performance edge and isn't trying to monetize your attention. Because honestly, most of our effort should be going into building all of the documentation and data that we specifically have that goes into powering any of these AI tools. Your context, your system, the part that stays yours no matter which model is ahead next month. That's why setting up your AI the right way is really worth it. And real quick, if you want to work with AI better, make sure you subscribe. Every week I share practical videos that you can actually use in your work. I know there's a lot of noise and fear around AI, so I try to stay really focused on how you can benefit from AI and put yourself in the best possible position within the AI revolution that we're currently in. Also, the method we're talking about today works for switching between any AI tools. So you're going to want to save this one. Before we export our ChatGPT data, let's clarify where in Claude we're moving the ChatGPT export to, because Claude is basically 3 apps bundled together. There's Chat, the basic box you already know. There's Claude Code, the powerful version that can build anything, but it's for engineers. And then there's Cowork, which is the exact same engine as Claude Code, except wrapped in a friendly interface for the rest of us. So if you're not an engineer like 99% of professionals, just use Claude Cowork. That's where we're going to set everything up today. And one tip so you judge these tools fairly. Most people pit ChatGPT, the chat app, against Claude Cowork or Code, but that would be comparing apples to oranges. You need to compare ChatGPT to Claude Chat, but OpenAI also has the Codex app, and that's their competitor to Claude Cowork. So if you're thinking about switching from the OpenAI suite to Anthropic, make sure you're comparing Codex to Claude Cowork. All right, now here are the 3 steps to make the switch. Here's the biggest mistake that people make when moving from ChatGPT to Claude. They open ChatGPT and then they type something like summarize everything you know about me, then they take that output and then paste that into Claude. Claude even has a built-in import feature that does exactly this. It hands you prompts to run in ChatGPT, but they all share the same flaw. ChatGPT can actually go back and then reread hundreds or thousands of conversations and all the files you've uploaded over the past year or two. It just writes a vague summary from the limited memory it has, and you lose almost everything that made it valuable. So do this instead and get a full export of your data. In ChatGPT, go to Settings, go to Data Controls, and then export your data. The download leak can take a few hours or even a day, so make sure you kick that off now. And here's the good part, that export actually includes everything, every single conversation, every file you've uploaded, so nothing gets left behind. So now you've got everything ChatGPT actually knows about you in one place. But this export includes a lot of junk too, so the next step is cleaning that up. That export you downloaded is just huge, and mine was over 1,300 conversations, and a lot of it was junk that I don't want to move over to Claude. Your prices may have changed, there may be ideas you don't like, or ones that just straight up contradict each other. If you dump all of that into Claude, you're going to just confuse Claude on what information to follow, and your answers might come up worse than they were in ChatGPT. So the most important step is to curate what really matters, and don't let ChatGPT decide that for you. And here's how. Drop the export into a folder on your computer, then give Claude this prompt. Go through my ChatGPT export, pull out the durable facts and decisions about my work that still matter, and show them back to me as a numbered list. For each one, I'll tell you to keep, refine, or ignore. Don't save anything until I confirm. I have the full prompt in a guide that I made that's linked below in the description, so you can get the full version there. Claude will hand you back this clean list, and then you can go through it together. You're the one that decides what stays, what is out of date, and what needs to be refined. And by the way, I did this exact workflow with a client. Claude pulled out 23 real decisions that were the most important ones to move over to ChatGPT, and this was out of over 500 conversations that he's had with it over the past year. And then in about just 20 minutes of really combing through and cleaning that up, we were able to start his Claude setup with a completely clean foundation. And one more thing that the export misses, your settings. So you're going to need to grab this by hand. Your custom instructions are how you've been telling ChatGPT to interact and talk with you, any projects you've built where you may have had instructions at the project level, any custom GPTs. I would honestly run the same workflow for all these too, and then you might notice that there's a ton of these that are outdated or you just don't need them anymore. So run them through that same workflow of keep, refine, or ignore, and then fold them into your curated context. The free guide linked below has the exact instructions and clicks of how to do each of these, so check that out. And if you barely use ChatGPT, you can just skip the export feature and then just start off riffing to Claude about the type of work you do and ask it to create these files for you. So now you've got a clean file of exactly what matters, in your words, and it was decided by you. The last step is really setting up where this is all going to live in Claude. Normally, if you just bring all your ChatGPT context into a Claude chat and transfer it over, and then save to its system's memory that works across your Claude chats. And for quick personal stuff, honestly, that's perfectly fine. It'll remember your preferences and basic information about you. But if you're getting actual work done, this is going to fall short. That memory is a loose pile that Claude builds and trims on its own. You don't really control what it keeps, it's not organized, and it's just stuck in a basic chat mode, the place where you ask questions but not actually get real work done. That's exactly where Claude Cowork comes in. This is the side of Claude that actually does your work for you. And to get real value out of Cowork, you need to set this up as a system, a Claude operating system. This takes all of your context and then organizes it into files that you own, which Claude can then read and navigate every chat. So you can finally stop re-explaining yourself, and then every answer is going to be grounded in your specific business context instead of just generic information on the internet. And you don't need to build this from scratch. I have a free Claude OS template for you, and this has the folder with everything already structured. So get the link free below. Then all you need to do once you're inside this project and you've opened up the operating system folder in Claude, you're going to hit new task, and then you're going to drop in the curated file that you have from ChatGPT into a new task. You're going to paste in the setup prompts that I have in the guide, and then Claude is just going to work with you to fill everything in. So let me show you a quick example of a 2-person consulting firm called Cedar. All I have to do is drop in their file, paste in the prompt, and then watch the files just build themselves out. And by the way, here's how it's organized. They're just in simple layers. So the main file works like a handbook you'd hand a new hire. This is a quick overview of just who you are, what you sell, who you serve, and Claude reads it first in every chat. And underneath it are deeper files that hold the specifics, so your brand voice, your offers, your pricing, and Claude only pulls from these files when a task actually needs them. So if you run a business, that could be things like detailed information about your offers, your pricing guides, or your ideal customer profiles. And if you're a professional working inside a company, these could be your role, your project details, and an overview of how your team works. Either way, your whole context is sitting there and organized, and Claude can easily navigate and pull information from it as needed. That's your context doing the work. So ask Claude for a follow-up email now, and it comes back in your voice with your real offer, not something generic that could be from anyone. Not a chatbot in a new app, but an AI that runs on your actual business. And from here, you can connect it to your tools and have it do work for you. I walked through the full build in the next video, so I'm not going to do that now, but if you're interested, definitely check that out. So here's the right way to switch. Do a full export of your ChatGPT data. Don't just ask it to summarize itself. Then you're going to curate it, keep what still matters, and decide for yourself. Don't let ChatGPT decide for you. Then you're going to set it up as a real Claude OS in Cowork, so it now benefits from all the powerful features within Claude Cowork that aren't available in chat. And everything I showed you, the prompts, the checklist, and the template, is in the free guide. The link is below, along with a ton of other free resources in the AI Workflows Academy. And if if you'd rather have my team set up your business AI OS in 14 days, you can check that out in the description too. So getting your ChatGPT history in Claude is a huge deal, but there's a whole lot more to the Claude OS, like connecting all of your apps and databases and teaching Claude how to automate almost any part of your work without writing any code. So definitely check out the next video which walks through the Claude OS in detail, and I'll see you on the next one.